Hey there everybody on YouTube land, it's LoyBear90 coming at you with a overdue video review. This time I'm going to be showing you guys something a little bit special to me. I'm going to be showing you guys this right here. It is a Z Hunter Zombie Apocalypse machete. A very, very overly designed machete. And it's not necessarily over-designed in a negative sense either. As you can see, I have to sit very far back just to get it all in frame here. It is very, very nice. I've had this thing for about 2 years now. As you can see, going on the edge, it's got a very, very beautifully done blue taper done on the edge. I don't exactly know if this is actually paint or some sort of other kind of coloring material specifically made for metal. I'm not entirely sure. But there is some wear damage on both sides. This side it's more apparent on this side, which is kind of weird. But this particular version of a machete has basically 3 ways of using. It's got this straight edge here. Obviously, it's got this very overpronounced tip that is very effective when you want to use a slash. It's also got this hook right here. If you're using this to fight an enemy with, say, a bat or another sword, or in some cases a baton, and you want to get it out of the way so you can come in for a close, like a left hook or something, you can use that to catch it and kind of throw it out of the way to give yourself a chance to get into to your opponent's face. Excuse me. And it's also got these teeth along the last part of the spine here. The spine starts with another hook here, goes all the way up until it starts right about here, about halfway up the blade. And it's got all these little individual teeth here, which I have actually sharpened. Granted, I used a $20 knife sharpener that I got at Walmart, and it didn't sharpen this entire blade all that well. Granted, it's not really meant to be sharpened like razor sharp per se, I don't think. But then again, I don't know a whole lot about sharpening a blade. So anyone watching this that has more experience in sharpening something, please recommend a better way of sharpening this to where it could actually be a lot more effective. Because thus far, I've only been able to use this for cleaning up bushes, chopping tree limbs, and things of that nature. I haven't been able to get it any sharp enough, or I should say, I haven't been able to get it sharper than for that purpose. I've only had it sharp enough where I could cut through a tree limb without a lot of hacking and bashing with it. And due to this tip right here, if you look, I don't know how well the camera is going to show it. The tip is actually slightly damaged right here because I have actually hooked this onto the onto the actual trunk of the tree. I've actually hooked it onto there and walked away to see if it would stay, and it would stay there. It wouldn't come off. In fact, I had to actually use a lot of physical force just to pry this off. So this thing is very, very durable. It's got a very curved handle here. It starts off very thin here, and then it widens out to I want to say about a good 2 inches. It starts here, and then it tapers out to a little bit wider towards the base, towards where the pommel would be. And it's got a paracord wrap around the handle with the wrapping around the handle. I'm sorry, with the actual bulk of the metal of the actual machete right here. This is the thickest part of the entire machete with all that metal right there. It's got all the paracord wrapped around it. It's made in China. See, hand forged in China. It's made out of ZB020 stainless steel. As far as I can tell, it's a very durable kind of steel. If you it's got just enough flex in it that I know it's not going to break very easily, but it's rigid enough that it suits my personal taste for a weapon or a gardening tool, whichever you use something like this for. I prefer to use it as a gardening tool because I can't really implement it because of this as an actual weapon without some sort of formal training, which I unfortunately lack. But the way this machete is, it's very, very, very different to a traditional machete. Most traditional machetes are pretty much from the base of the blade all the way to the tip the exact same width. It's pretty much the same thickness from spine to edge all the way through for the most part. Some starting small and tapering out wider. In this case, it kind of curves. Like the back is roughly straight to about here. The spine is actually straight from here up until it gets to the first tooth here, and then from that tooth it starts to curve. The actual edge starts here, and it's got even more of these little teeth, which I have found to be very useful when dealing with critters at night. It's not sharp, but it's pointed enough that I could use it to kind of knock some at bay or to like pin one down so that my neighbors or somebody could actually pin it with a BB gun or something before letting it loose because they would scurry so quick. I had to catch them with this. So it's been useful for that. But it curves from here until about here, and then it goes straight all along here. Then it hits to this hook right here, and then and then of course it curves out to here. I have been able to use this both directions with the edge facing away from me and the edge facing towards me where I use this. I actually would use the teeth here for the most part, cutting tree limbs down because it's very useful for that because the tip being as wide as it is, it's fairly heavy. So I was able to use the weight of that to slice through tree limbs without much hassle. I would still have to muscle through it, but not as nearly as much as I would have any other kind of weapon or any other kind of blade for that matter. But I prefer using it the traditional way because it's very light. It's very, very, as Scalagrim would put it, it's very lively. I'm not very over encumbered by the weight of it. I can actually throw a pretty good hook through it without putting a lot of effort into it. And due to the holes here in the back of the blade and right here towards the tip, I'm going to actually be quiet for a second because you can actually hear it cutting through the air. I'm not sure how well you can hear that, but it can cut through the air very audibly. I don't know if it's because of the actual edge or if it's passing through these holes. I'm pretty sure it's because of these holes here. If it was just any other kind of blade, it wouldn't make that audible of a sound without a lot of effort. And now, because I have such small hands, this handle is just long enough that I can grip it with both hands if I wanted to, which again I have had to do for cutting down tree limbs from time to time because some of them would actually be so thick that I would actually have to use both hands in order to use the teeth here on the back because some of them would be so thick that it required a lot of force just to even get halfway through cutting them. Mainly because I don't own any power tools or chainsaws or anything of that nature, so I had to do it literally by hand, the old-fashioned way, more or less. But I would really recommend getting this. I don't know if they're still in production or not, because like I said, I bought this 2 years ago. As a matter of fact, I actually bought it at the local town fair 2 years ago when they were selling this, and I don't know if they're still in production or not, but it's a Z Hunter. I would really recommend buying these because they're really really cool, but the biggest reason is because the steel, as far as I can tell, is very very durable. It's gonna last for a long time, and the balance of it is very well. It's not gonna wear you down if you're wanting to use it more combatively, and if you don't like the paracord wrap, you could very easily just take it off and replace it with something else like cotton or nylon or whatever feels whatever feels more comfortable for you. You can even just completely take it off and hold it barehanded, more or less. Like I said, whatever's more comfortable for you. Personally, I like the paracord grip because it makes it very, very difficult for it to accidentally slip out of my hand should I start getting very sweaty. So I found that to be very, very helpful. It also helps that the handle, as I said, curves such a wide base down here. It's even holding it down here, it's still very comfortable. Granted, it's a little bit awkward if you're not used to it, but it's still very comfortable in the hand. This is very awkward because I'm not used to doing sword reviews or knife reviews for that matter. But I'm going to be doing a lot more, so keep an eye out for that, guys. But like I said, I would really recommend looking into one of these or anything similar as long as it's legitimate. I've seen a few knockoffs of these where the blade is over exaggerated and it doesn't look promising at all. So if you're going to look into buying one of these, I would suggest doing a lot of research and making sure you're getting the right one for the money that you pay for. I paid $24 for this, which is money well spent in my opinion. Some may charge you a little bit more, some might charge a little less. It depends on where you look, depends on where you go. But that's all I can say for now, guys. So this is Lord Bear 90 signing off for now. And remember, if you're not true to yourself, you're not true to the world.